Hello, friends. Welcome. Sale, Mason, happy home. What is today? Oh, it's Friday, June 6th, 2025. Ooh, doggy. We are halfway through the year. Did you know that? So I want to talk to you about the lists. You know, there's been a lot of talk about the Epstein lists, and now that this completely appalling and unacceptable feud between Trump and Musk and his appalling behavior has come to light. Musk has now accused Trump of being on the list. Well, those lists, they came out under the Biden administration. And let me tell you, if Trump was on those lists, or there was some indication that he had visited that island, let me tell you, they would have used that against him like a sledgehammer during his campaign. Okay. So, you know, he's not on the list. Okay. If he is, it's not what we would think. So, that aside, okay, that aside, one person that is on the list, or at least I am of the impression was on the list because I think it was mentioned, and I get this camera right here, was Bill Clinton. And I'm not surprised about that. And here's why. When you are not an alpha male, but you marry an alpha female and you allow her to rule like an alpha male in your home, she's the boss. She calls the shots. She wears the pants. Bill Clinton was none of those things. He's not an alpha male, never has been. And he probably had no desire to be president. I believe that she coerced him or controlled him or forced him to do it because nobody would have accepted her as president. And we learned that in 2016. So in order to rule the roost, the only way she could do that was to get her husband in office, and she was successful in doing that. Now, the thing about alpha females is that they are unavailable emotionally. They're typically workaholics, they're narcissists, they're abusive, and they're just not good people. They're not good women, they're not good mothers, they're just nasty. And when you have somebody that's kind of quiet and soft-spoken like Bill Clinton is, and he's being smothered by this this alpha female who is probably very unaffectionate and unavailable, that pushes men into a situation where they're going to want some security. They're going to want someone to hold them and to be affectionate and to listen to them and to understand and hear them. It's kind of like the male-female roles get reversed. And what happens is when alpha females neglect their husbands, abuse their husbands, ignore them, etc., they push them away to other women. And I don't think for a second that Bill Clinton was unfaithful to Hilary Dilary Doc simply because he was an alpha male. He's not. Or that his ego needed stroking and he was the most powerful man in the world and he got a hard on about that. No, I think it was because he was desperate for a connection of intimacy and affection and compassion that he wasn't and probably never has gotten from Hillary. Now, that's not to say that what he did was right. Of course it's not. But when you look at it from a different perspective and find that he may in fact be on the list, I believe I read that he was on the list. I'm not surprised. He reminds me of the guy that would hire a prostitute just to sit and cuddle and talk. He's a lapdog. He's a lapdog. He is not. He's a lapdog. He's not. He's not a. He's not some cruel alpha male that's out to conquer women. He's a puppy dog looking for a lap, looking for someone to snuggle with and to pet him and to listen to him and to tell him how cute he is. So if he's on the list, and I believe I heard that he was back when the lists came out and, under the Biden era, it would make sense. And I'm not surprised. But I don't believe it's for the reasons that people think it is. I think that his reasons for having affairs was because of what was lacking in his relationship with regard to being married to that beast of a human. She is a horrible human being. She's a narcissist. She's cruel. She's unavailable. I mean, she's just seething with negativity. And I remember when Bill Clinton was in office, there was a horrific flood that happened. FEMA had to show up. It was just a big mess. And Bill Clinton came to the site in a helicopter. He took off his jacket, rolled up his sleeves, and was helping sandbag and was talking to people, and he was holding their hands and he was touching them. And a little girl of about 9 or 10 years old, maybe, was just standing there overwhelmed and crying at this sandbag roll that they were doing. And he picked her up and he held her in his arms like a boss, like a dad would do. His heart was breaking with her. And he saw a need. He saw that this little girl needed that. What president would do that? A man who recognizes that need, who recognizes that in that moment, that little girl needed someone to understand what she was going through, even if they didn't speak a word. Just holding her in his arms was enough to help her get through that moment. And he understood that. That's not something that Hilary would ever understand. So this nonsense about the lists, it's not about who's on the list. It's about what those people on the list did when they got to that island. And if you think about it, the list came out under Biden, and if Trump had been on it, they would have hammered him with that 24/7 during the campaign. Of course, it never got brought up. Also, Trump, one of the first things he mandated was that all of these documents about Epstein be released. Now, if there are world leaders on those lists, consequential world leaders that we're trying to, make deals with, or that could, nuke the world if they're found out and so on, it is sensitive information, classified sensitive information that needs to be vetted before we can put it out into the world. So it's going to take some time. They can't just, release it without knowing what's going on. So this issue with Musk accusing Trump of being on the list, I don't believe he is, but if he is, I highly doubt for a second. And if you think about where Trump was in his life at that time, he's very devoted to Melania. And Barron would have been born and growing up in those years. Trump was in New York building real estate. I highly doubt that he is. And if he is, maybe he wasn't doing anything. Maybe he was. I don't know. But for Musk to come out now and start accusing him is childish and arrogant on the part of Musk. And this feud between Musk and Trump must stop now. It has to stop now. Trump has more important things to do than stroke the ego of a trillionaire who's mad about something. EV mandates, is that what he's mad about? And the thing is that Trump campaigned on that he was going to stop the EV mandates. So Musk knew that right from day one, and he still supported him, and he knew it. And Trump was, I remember campaigns that I watched when he was stumping, and he'd be in crowds of people, and he'd be yelling with Musk standing right there that he was going to end the EV mandates. And Musk stood right there and stared at him while he said it. Did he not believe him? Did he think he was kidding? Did he think that if he did the job that he was hired to do, that he would get a free pass? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Something's kind of odd there. But, it'll unfold as it unfolds, and we will deal with it as we deal with it, and in its own due time. And until next time, do good and be good.